Hello everyone, back to tune into today's first video. We're doing the ECMWF 42-day look at for today's first video. So we're going 6 weeks ahead, well into April, with the extended ECMWF model. We're going to look at mean cell pressure anomalies, 500 millibar height anomalies, temperature and precipitation anomalies for the next 6 weeks. I shall get on with that for you very shortly. Just say that coming up later on today, we'll have the weekend broadcast, always on a Saturday. You're going to have your weekend look ahead in detail. And we'll have a 10 to 14 day for you this afternoon as well. Right, thank you so much to ECMWF.int for supplying these charts. Let's have a look then. So this is the week 1 mean sea level pressure anomaly. It takes us from the 15th to the 22nd of March. The coming week, or next week I suppose, we'll have high pressure out to our west. Low pressure will be across eastern parts of Europe, with jet stream doing something a little bit like that. So we're going to be close to a ridge of high pressure. There should be a fair amount of dry weather in with that. The only problem is that the wind coming around the ridge is going to be from like a northerly type direction, so it's probably going to be quite cool. But there should be a reasonable amount of dry weather. This is the week 1 500 millibar height anomaly, again taking us from the 15th to the 22nd of March, with above average heights extending from the Atlantic in towards the Arctic, actually up towards Greenland. Low pressure will be through or below average heights, which extrapolates, so low pressure will be across eastern parts of Europe. The jet stream will be doing something a little bit like that between the trough and the ridges, and so we're going to be relatively settled, I would have thought, but again we are on the cold side of that ridge of high pressure. Temperature anomalies for week 1 from the 15th to the 2nd of March, looking a little bit more than average actually out to the west, but cooler than average to our south and southeast. So it's just in that sort of dividing line area between like the cool weather that's covering most parts of Europe and milder weather under the ridge in the North Atlantic. The precipitation anomaly, because we're close to high pressure, looks relatively dry. The Atlantic is blocked off, so it should be pretty dry for the west of Europe, including Ireland and the UK. Right, that's that one done. Let's have a look at week 2. Takes us from the 22nd to the 29th of March. The high pressure begins to pull out into the middle of the North Atlantic. Low pressure develops around Greenland and Iceland. In comes more of a westerly flow as we go through into the final week of March. So looking a little bit more westerly here and perhaps a little bit more unsettled. Let's have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly. Definitely looks more unsettled, doesn't it, with below average heights around Greenland, Iceland and the North Atlantic. In comes a westerly flow. So a more unsettled week there for week 2. Temperature anomalies for week 2 are going cooler than average in most parts of Western Europe. So there must be a little bit of northwest southeast alignment to the wind direction and also to the jet stream as well, to be pulling cool air in from the North Atlantic. So yeah, rather cool week coming up there for Ireland and for the UK as well. The final week of March. And the week 2 precipitation anomaly, it's a weak signal, but it does look wetter than average just to our west. And as that is the way the direction, you know, travel is coming from across the Atlantic in this week, I would suspect this is quite an unsettled week, probably, with spells of rain coming in from off the Atlantic. And if it's cold enough, maybe a little bit of snow in the north. Right, that's week 2 done. Let's have a look at week 3. This takes us from the 29th of March to the 5th of April. Very weak signals in this week. We have got some high pressure across the far northeast of Europe and some higher pressure in the middle of the North Atlantic. Otherwise, this large white area is a bit unknown. But between the two ridges, the ridge there and the ridge there, I suspect there will probably be a trough of low pressure and the jet stream. So I would have thought this is likely to be relatively unsettled through this week. Let's see if a 500 millibar height anomaly adds more. So that actually places us under a trough of low pressure. We have a trough of low pressure, albeit a shallow one, sitting over the UK and Western Europe. High pressure is up towards Svalbard and out in the middle of the North Atlantic. And so the jet stream digs southwards a little bit like that. It looks like it's probably quite cool and unsettled. And this does encompass Easter period, of course, unfortunately. The week 3 temperature anomaly looks relatively cool across much of Western Europe, albeit it's a slightly weakening signal, but certainly we are on the cooler than average side with the temperature anomaly and the precipitation anomaly from the 29th of March to the 5th of April. Again, quite a weak signal, but probably a little bit wetter than average, if anything, average to slightly above average rainfall. Week 4 will take us from the 5th through to the 12th of April. Another change, high pressure coming back in with the mean sailor pressure anomaly. Quite a nice ridge developing across Western Europe, probably sending low pressure and the jet stream northwards. That could be the onset of spring there into the second week of April. That might be spring getting going. Let's have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly. Again, looks quite nice. It's an area of above average heights from the Atlantic into the UK and going up to Northern Europe. We may be pulling in a slight sort of easterly flow, but that's typical really for April and May. But I think that's probably settling down, and I would have thought getting quite a bit warmer as well. The temperature anomaly still doesn't look anything to write home about, unfortunately. Maybe hints at being a little bit milder through the North Atlantic. Still a bit on the cool side, if anything, the southern eastern parts of the country, perhaps from like a bit of an easterly flow. And the week for precipitation anomaly looks drier. It's a drier week under that ridge. Yes, going to drive an average for island of the UK in week 4. Right, that's that one done. Let's have a look at week 5. Takes us from the 12th to the 19th of April. If you're enjoying this video, please smash your like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, everybody, doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think. So again, this week, week 5, looks like it's relatively anticyclonic. With, it's a shallow sort of ridge. It's not a strong signal, but if anything, it looks like it's relatively anticyclonic here for much of northern and western Europe. So high and dry as we go into or go through April. Again, the 500 millibar height anomaly depicting higher pressure from the Atlantic into the UK and into northern Europe as well. You would suspect, again, there's quite a bit of dry weather coming along with that. The week 5 temperature anomaly looks milder as well. So proper spring-like weather as we're going through April. And finally, the temperature anomaly of week 5, again, because we're close to that ridge of high pressure, we hint at being drier than average too. And then finally, we get through to week 6, which will take us from the 19th to 26th of April. This is how week 6 is looking. If the chart going to load, there we are. So this is a weak signal. It looks like we've got some higher pressure now in the North Atlantic, and a trough may be coming into Scandinavia. So that would imply we might be getting the wind into the north there, between the high pressure south of Greenland and the trough over Scandinavia. So maybe turning it a little bit colder later into the second half of April. 500 millibar height anomaly backing up that idea as well. Again, a mid-Atlantic ridge going towards the south of Greenland. Trough heading in towards Scandinavia, was probably turning back into the north, therefore. You expect this to be a cooler week. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly. So it is a weak signal, but if anything, probably hinting that it's going a bit cooler than average again for Ireland and for the UK. And then lastly, we've got the week 6 precipitation anomaly. Weak signals, looks a little bit drier than average to our west. A little bit wetter than average maybe to our east. No particular signal for the UK and for Ireland. Right, so it is a mixed bag, as you often get with these charts. Definitely the strongest signals are early on. And it looks like we've got some more unsettled weather to go during this March, and relatively changeable, conditions continue for the rest of March. It's that sort of March, isn't it? Going to be relatively changeable now, I think, towards the end of the month, and possibly lasting into early April, and often quite cool as well. There is a signal there for weeks 4 and 5 later on into April, especially on the middle part of the month, to potentially turn quite a lot drier and warmer under a ridge of high pressure before it breaks down by week 6. And of course, 6 weeks away is a very, very, very long way out, so I wouldn't worry at all about that. But it looks like the rest of March is going to be changeable, possibly spring arise for a while anyway, into April. Right, that's it. If you enjoyed the video, please smash your like button. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. We've got the weekend forecast coming up for you very shortly, or a little bit later on. So on Saturday, you have your weekend look at, and we've got a 10 to 14 day coming up as well. So keep checking back to the channel for all of the updates. But for this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.